first, I just want to say thank you. Like, to everyone that has watched my videos, like, the people that have commented, people that don't comment, like, just thank you. Because it is y'all that has helped me stay me and get back to me. Because I was sitting here, like, I was like, yeah, I'm about to make a deep video. And I was like, when's the last time I made a deep video? Like, when's the last time I just sat here and thought deeply about the universe and reality? I mean, I do all the time. But, like, it's like ever since the breakup, I tend to talk about the breakup because, I just talk about what is in my life. So, I don't watch many TV shows. But I watch this show called The 100 with my daughter. And, I mean, we've been watching it on and off for a couple years, and we just finished it completely. And I briefly want to talk about the last episode. So, spoiler alert, if you have not seen The 100, do not watch the rest of this video until you've seen The 100. But if you don't care, then just listen to the rest of the video. In The 100, at the end of the thing, basically it's break down the show. The show is about how Earth got bombed. So this AI thing, humans made AI. The AI wanted to fix humans, the typical thing. So then it decided to let off all the nuclear bombs to get rid of humans because humans were the problem. And then the Earth got destroyed. Humans moved up in space and lived in a space station for about 100 years or so. And then they decided to send down 100 people down to Earth to see if it was habitable. And then when they got down there, they found out there were some humans that stayed down there, and they became the grounders, or like the natives in a sense. And then the people from this space, they became the sky people or sky crew, and okay, the whole thing. But at the end of the thing, it was about humans transitioning from physical beings to non-physical beings. That the whole human species was being tested by these higher beings, and it was like this test that was taken, and the test determined whether humans were going to become these almighty knowing kind of entities that became one with the other entities or whatever. And if the humans weren't ready, then all the humans died, and the human species was no more forever. It had me thinking about what everyone's talking about with moving from 3D to 5D, and like, because let me clarify, we're not actually fucking transitioning from third dimensional beings to like fifth dimensional beings where I can sit here and fluctuate my body back and forth between energy and physical and energy and non-physical and like all this shit, right? It's not what's actually happening. What people mean by switching from 3D to 5D is the consciousness. So like obviously the 100 is a show, but what that showed me, right, is that metaphorically humans are transitioning from 3D to 5D, metaphorically. Now, if you really want to transition dimensions, look into DMT or ayahuasca or mushrooms. But what is actually happening is the human consciousness is transitioning from third dimensional thinking to 5-dimensional thinking. The fact that woke has become this cool, popular thing. People think they're woke because they find out the government is fucked, or they find out whatever, and they say, I'm fucking woke now, or something. Which, all of that is literally humans transitioning from 3D to 5D. The fact that my daughter, who's 10, majority of 10-year-olds kind of know a lot of this woke knowledge here or there because they grew up with it. They grew up with technology, so things are different because they have technology. We're heading towards this technological singularity as well as a spiritual singularity with ayahuasca and psychedelic getting popular again, right? So like, if with ayahuasca and psychedelics getting popular, the human consciousness is changing because more people across the planet now understand that psychedelics could possibly give you access to another dimension. It could possibly heal you. It can possibly show you the spirit world. It can possibly, you can meet entities and meet Mother Ayahuasca. And I say possibly because these are the things that humans now can do. This doesn't mean that all humans are going to choose to do this, right? It is a choice. You can choose to stay 3D, quote unquote, meaning you could choose to think that your thoughts don't manifest reality. You could choose to think that ayahuasca is just a drug and it's not real. You can choose to think all of these 3D thinking. You could choose to think that the government has your best interest at heart, so you trust them. You can choose to think that it is a good idea to work a job until you retire and then gain your retirement, and it's a life well spent. These ideas are all third dimensional ideas because these are ideas that were given to us. These fifth dimensional ideas are there. We're discovering them. Like math. Math was not invented by humans, it was discovered by humans. And I think a lot of three-dimensional information, third D information is created. Like it's not real type shit. Like they're false information that's given to us while we're young, so then we just know it as what is. So like the whole way the system is set up, the whole way the society is set up, the way how they have alcohol being sold in stores, being sold at stores, but LSD, MDMA, mushrooms, people are like, oh my God, don't take those are dangerous. But they sell alcohol in stores. People are now getting more educated on all of this information. Yeah, alcohol is still sold in stores. Yeah, cigarettes are still sold in stores. But we fought back when it comes to cannabis, meaning the people, the government says cannabis is bad, but they've been selling cigarettes the whole time. Us people, the people, knew cannabis was never bad. It actually helps with this and helps with that and shrinks tumors and like all these benefits that THC, CBD, CBN, and all the other molecules in the cannabis plant have, but yet they've tried so hard to withhold that information from us. They've tried so hard to withhold the information of psychedelics. Now, this file, the Gateway Project, which was the CIA document that got released, it was released in 2003, but it wasn't made popular on the internet until like 2015, 16, 17. And after that came out, it's now more common knowledge that the CIA and the government have been attempting like astral projection and hemisync, which is when you sync, basically when you're able to sync your right hemisphere and left hemisphere of your brain together. In a nutshell, to simplify the information, it's just that helps you manifest in a sense, or control reality, travel dimensions. You're able to travel with astral projection and meditation, and all of this information is now coming out to be real. But this information has been known forever. Shamans have known that they could travel dimensions. Buddhist monks have known that they can meditate and begin to transcend reality. This is not new information. It's just been hidden by the 3D information. The 3D information has taken over our mind, where we have to pay the bills, we have to work a job, we have to do this, we have to do that. The technological revolution is going to help humanity become the fifth dimensional beings we were meant to be, because we are three-dimensional beings. We are fifth-dimensional beings living in a third-dimensional body. Meaning our mind is fifth-dimensional. Meaning your mind is not a third-dimensional thing, because if you cut open the brain, you're not going to find the mind. If you cut open the brain, you're not going to find your thoughts. Where are your thoughts? Not in this dimension. So the imagination, this thing is another world, another thing that we tend to pull things out of the imagination to make them real. I'm recording this on a phone, but somebody had this idea in their imagination, or in the imagination. They pulled it out and they made it real, right? So I think that the more time that goes on, the closer we're getting to this technological advancement, right? This technological thing where people are so scared that the robots are going to take our jobs. The robots need to take our jobs. because humans are not supposed to have jobs. This shocks people. I know this scares people. Third dimensional human beings are like, what the fuck do you mean? I need to work. And yada yada yada. No, you don't need to work. You need to because working is for third dimensional beings. Like working like we work. Like that's why we're eventually gaining intelligence enough to build robots to do those jobs for us, so that it can give us time to become the fifth dimensional beings we were meant to be. Right? So I think that this is a whole transition, and this is the Great Reset. This is the Great Awakening. This is what is. This is actually happening. And it's kind of out of our hands because it's been happening like this whole fucking time. I mean, the 1960s was the first like wave of this shit, and now there's another wave of this shit. And now it's like psychedelics are making a comeback, and more people are spiritually connected with psychedelics. You find that there are less, like, you can find that there are, I don't know, before psychedelics became popular, psychedelics were not looked at as much as they are now. But now, psychedelics, like, a lot of people have, in a sense, gave up atheism to believe in the psychedelics. A lot of people have given up. I'm not saying it's good to give up your religion, but whatever. But I'm just saying a lot of people were religious, then they had a psychedelic experience, and now they believe in God more than they did before the psychedelic experience. Because that was me. I genuinely believe in God more now than I have ever in my life. And that's because of the psychedelics. But this is the thing. It's not that God is this man in the sky to me anymore either. The psychedelics have helped put things into perspective for me, which they will do that for every other human being on the planet eventually. As we get closer and closer to connecting with the psychedelics, we get closer and closer to connecting with technology, as the metaverse gets built and as the virtual reality world gets built inside of, we will begin to see that we are multidimensional beings, that we live in the virtual reality, we live in the third dimension, and we also live in the fifth dimension. So if you look at the virtual reality as like a 2D world, okay? So we are moving into the 2D, we are moving into the 5D. We are also going to still be here in the 3D. We will literally become multidimensional beings. This is actually happening. And everyone's so scared of it because our bodies are so attached to the body that, like, we can't comprehend, like, transitioning or being something without the body. But it reminds me of the 100, where the human species was, going to evolve into these beings that don't require bodies anymore, that they're of a higher essence, of a higher thing. And that's what is happening. Like, it's not just that we're gonna become souls when we die. Like, we're not just souls when we die. We're actually still souls right now. It's just we're in the body. But when the soul, like, it's this transition that the soul is in a body, and then when the body dies, the soul goes to the place that it goes when it doesn't have a body. But it's this transition of life, this cycle of life and death and rebirth, death and rebirth. But as we're on this cycle of death and rebirth, humans are evolving. The planet, the species, the whole thing is evolving. But meaning, like, maybe we'll get to a point where death isn't a thing. Or maybe we'll get to a point where technology and psychedelics, to the point where we understand that death isn't real, that it's this transition, and that the only reason death exists is so the wheel can spin, because that's what death is. All death is the wheel spinning. If you have a bike and the bike stands still, if the bike doesn't move, then it's just going to stand still. And the whole universe would stand still. But because death exists, it allows the whole universe to have motion, to move. That's all death is. But we're so attached to the body when we're in it, because, the way this reality is set up, that our bodies don't know death like our souls do. But when you're in the body, you only know what the body knows. So that's why we gain information, we learn things, you go to school, you get educated, you watch documentaries, or you learn things from having conversations or experiences, because you can only pick up new information while you're in a body. But when you're out of the body, your soul has, in a sense, all of the information that it's always had. Now, it's this thing that humans are now transitioning from just normal human beings to multidimensional beings. That the fact that, technology is going to be here. We're going to be in an augmented reality world mixed with virtual reality, mixed realities. It's going to be fucking insane. And everyone's so scared of this, but like, it's just what is, right? Everyone's so scared of the technology the same way that everyone's so scared of death. It's the exact same reason why we're scared. Like, we're scared of the unknown. We're scared of change. The ego is scared to die every single time. I mean, I take psychedelics often, but why is it that I'm fucking terrified every single time before I take the psychedelic? Every time. It doesn't matter how much I take. It doesn't matter how many times I've done it. I still feel that fucking fear before I take it. Because the body knows. Like, the body knows what it's about to go through. The body knows that it doesn't want to go through that. My soul is like, fuck yeah, let's trip. But my body's like, bruh, like, damn, let's just smoke some weed instead. Like, it's more comforting. But like, it's this transition that we don't like change. We don't like transition. But you need transition to have movement. You need to change, to move, to evolve. It's just the human species is evolving. And see, I believe in evolution in a different way. Because, like, I believe the Anunnaki altered our DNA, right? But I also believe that the human species is evolving as a whole. The collective consciousness of the human species is getting closer and closer to what it was meant to be. Because it's not just about one person becoming woke, or 10 people becoming woke, or 100 people using psychedelics and gaining it. It is literally about having everyone on the planet understand what is actually going on. And that is the hardest thing that we are going to have to do on this planet. You think getting successful is hard? You think getting rich is hard? You think fucking becoming woke is hard, or whatever the fuck? No, how about the whole human consciousness needs to get on these higher wavelengths, these higher ways of thinking, these higher things, so we can become higher beings. That it's not just like, yeah, it's great. I know everyone says, you gotta focus on yourself. If you wake up yourself, you wake up the world. Change yourself, you change the world. Yeah, but then after you change yourself, you need to get to fucking moving to help other people. Because the easiest thing you could do is change yourself. Because that's you. The hardest thing you can do is convince other people why it would be beneficial for them to wake up, or for them to become spiritually connected, or for them to think positive, or for them to meditate so they can get rid of their anxiety, or learn how to gain control of their mind, or do the things that makes them feel alive. Or like, you know how hard it is to convince people to do what makes them feel alive? Because yeah, I don't know. So this is the video. I don't really have much else to say besides, yeah, that was about it.